What's up, NASCAR fans? You're watching the NITTRO Series on the HSL Diecast Racing channel. If you like watching small cars run down a track, you're in the right place because that's what we do here on this channel. Today's the all-star race for the modified division. Brightest stars of the modified series going at it for 7 laps in the segments, 7 laps in the finale for 50 bonus points, plus the custom 57 Chevy from M2 going to the winning cars builder, 8 of the league's premier builders, 14 of the fastest cars you've seen on this channel. And right now we're kicking it off with segment 1, being led down by your points leader, Clyde, in the number 94. Uncle Elvis Racing. Next to him in the 57 Dodge Charger for the Barora Bangers, we have Gale Force. The number 0 G-Body Monte Carlo for Sloppy Bear Racing. We have Gray, the number 45 of Riot Isaac for Puffs Racing. And the number 4 of Po' Boy, the team owner of Po' Boys Racing. And he won the All-Star Open to get himself into this event. Now the gates are down. Clyde gets a great start, a half a car length lead over Gale Force, getting a push by Gray. Gray moves up to second place, pushes Clyde up the track, tries to move underneath him for first place already. But Clyde reverse side drafts him into the retaining wall. It saves him from flipping over, but he'll be starting the next lap in last place. Clyde holds on to the lead. Now he's got the 90-gram car of Riot Isaac pushing him. And he gets a great start for lap number 2, has a full car length lead heading into the turns. He's making that car 2 lanes wide. Gale Force tries to wedge her way on the outside, but he throws a block, looks like Baby Richie. Tries to catch her for second place. It's a little bit too late. There's no actual position changes despite all that action. Now it's time for lap number 3. The gates are down. And we got a much tighter pack this time. Only a half a car length lead between Clyde and Gale Force. Heading into the fat track, the field bunches up even more. Riot Isaac tries to make a move underneath for second place. Just turns Gale Force around. She blocks the rest of the field and holds on. That gamble didn't work out for Riot Isaac. He ends up losing a spot. Meanwhile, for lap number 4, the segment is just turning into a nightmare for Gray. He gets caught on the guardrail, finally corrects himself, but it's too late. Po' Boy and Clyde are breaking away from the rest of the pack. Po' Boy gets a little loose, gets stuck on the guardrail and takes a vicious hit by Riot Isaac. We're going to show the replay of this. He had a front row spot for the next lap in the bag, but he gets his right front stuck there. Riot Isaac shoves him off the track. He luckily lands on his wheels, but even Gray moves up a spot from that mistake, but can he take advantage of it? From 4th place with just 2 laps to go, the gates are down. It's a tight pack heading into the fat track portion once again. Clyde gains some ground on the rest of the field heading into turn number 1. Looks like Baby Richie moves up to second place, blocks the rest of the field. Meanwhile, it's a scramble for 3rd behind him heading into the final lap, and it looks like Po' Boy gets it over Gale Force. And now it's time for the final lap of segment number 1. It's been clean racing so far. Nobody on their roofs yet. The gates are down, and Clyde gets another great start right off the bat. In fact, that whole inside lane forms a freight train. It just flies by the outside lane. Po' Boy is super glued to Clyde's back bumper heading out of turn number 2. Meanwhile, Gray's blocking for 3rd place. I don't know why. It's not going to get him anywhere. A final Hail Mary by Gale Force falls flat. It'll be Clyde and Po' Boy heading on to the main event. And now it's time for segment number 2. On the front row, we have the Cut Rock Creek Racing teammates of Burt Buzzard and Harry Hoon. Behind them for Po' Boy Racing, we have Lucky Jackson in the number 8, and in the number 10, that's Heather for Uncle Elvis Racing, trying to join their teammates in the main event. And finally, the number 2 Pontiac of J. Bo for Dog Squad Racing, coming off his first career podium, won the fan vote. The gates are down, and Burt Buzzard gets a great jump off the start, has a full car length plus lead over the rest of the field, and Lucky Jackson moves up to second place. Looks like J-Bo throws a block for 3rd place to start right behind Burt Buzzard, who's been one of the most consistent drafting partners this whole season so far. When you line up behind him, it usually ends up a good points day. The gates are down now for lap number 2. It's a tight pack heading into the turns. J-Bo is making a move not just for second, but to pin Burt Buzzard onto the wall. It doesn't work out for him. He does still get second place, though, almost by a bumper length. Very tight race for second there. Now it's time for lap number 3. The gates are down. Lucky Jackson gets a great start. This time drafting behind Burt Buzzard. That whole inside lane gets a great jump. Heading into turn number 1, they form a single file line, playing it safe for the final few laps, but cautions out for an El Recco. Unforced error by your Daytona 500 winner, Heather. Just drove over the outside guardrail without any provocation. That's our first DNF outside of the final laps of today. Meanwhile, for lap number 4, Lucky Jackson gets a great head start on the outside. Burt Buzzard tries to take that spot away on the inside, but Lucky Jackson throws a block. Gets tossed to the back and absolutely bodied into that retaining fence. Race would have definitely been over for him had that barrier not been there. He's still going to start the next lap in last place, though. Harry Hoon, the big benefactor from that, moves from last to first on that lap. Now he'll lead him down for lap number 5. The gates are down, and J-Bo, starting from third, looks like he might have stalled the car at first because the outside lane just blows by Harry Hoon without his drafting partner. Heading into turn one, what the heck happened there? Looks like everybody but J-Bo got caught up in that. We're going to slow this down, see what exactly happened. I don't think anybody's on their roof, but of course we're going to triple check that to just be sure. There's Lucky Jackson on his wheels. Both of the Cut Rock Creek boys look like they're in one piece. So let's now take it to the replay. J-Bo actually stalled his car coming out of the start gate, which allows Burt Buzzard and Lucky Jackson to bump draft past Harry Hoon. But then all hell breaks loose heading into turn one. Lucky Jackson gets too aggressive there, tries to make a pass in the grass, while Burt Buzzard moves to the very bottom to block him. Harry Hoon's in the inside lane. He has no time to move up to the top and avoid him. Tumbles over twice and actually slides through the turns on his roof. Meanwhile, it's J-Bo that pushes his way through it and leads the lap when it looked like he was dead in the water. What an epic lap that was. Now it's time for lap number 6. Time's running short, but still we have no idea who's going to actually win this. And it's been ultra competitive with position shifting throughout, and the pack is super tight heading into the fat track. Burt Buzzard gets a half a car length lead and throws a block heading into the turns. That is not a good idea. It's ended in disaster several times, but he manages to hold his block past the finish line. And it was a tight battle for second place. Looks like Lucky Jackson got it heading into the final lap. Harry Hoon with the lead heading into the final lap. J-Bo in third, stalls it again. That leaves Lucky Jackson a wide open track ahead of him and a 2-car length lead before they even leave the split track. But don't count out Burt Buzzard just yet. He spins Lucky Jackson and pushes him into the grass. Lucky Jackson recovers and holds on for second place. Burt Buzzard wins the segment. Lucky Jackson to the seconds race. And now it's time for our final segment. We can just call this the Puffs Racing segment, as 3 of the drivers are from Puffs Racing. We have Misty G and Puff on the front row, followed by Lord Raymond and the third Puff driver, Baby Richie, who won the Sonoma race and got in by virtue of his race win. So far, it's a tight race, and Puff and Baby Richie just disappear under the track. This leaves Misty G and Lord Raymond to take it safe. After that disaster behind them, they'll be starting lap number 2 in the front row. Our track crew is going to go out there and make some repairs of the track. Meanwhile, they got to pivot the blimp to see where exactly Puff and Baby Richie landed. It looks like they were on their wheels, but they got a tough task ahead of them to get past Lord Raymond and Misty G. The gates are down, and Lord Raymond shoots off like a rocket. He hasn't looked this good probably since the Texas race. Everyone but Baby Richie smooth as butter through the turns. Lord Raymond takes that lap by more than 3 car lengths. Misty G tries to make an aggressive outside pass that backfires and actually shuffles her back to third. As we've seen from the last segment, though, with 5 laps left to go, it's still anybody's race. Lord Raymond once again takes a considerable lead heading into turn number 1. Facing a bit of a challenge from Puff, he moves into the upper lane to block him, and they form a train heading into the backstretch, but Lord Raymond gets beached on the wall, but he hangs on and maintains the lead. It's a razor-thin margin for second place, and it looks like Puff holds on to second again. Heading into the middle lap of this segment, the gates are down. It's a tight pack right out the start gate. Lord Raymond once again cruising through the split portion of the track, has a 2-car length lead heading into the fat track. And this is looking like a repeat of the previous lap. Lord Raymond and Puff seem to have first and second place on lock, but Lord Raymond just got loose on the back straight. Puff pushes him off the track. Misty G moves past them both to take the lead. Puff retains second. Now for lap number 5, Lord Raymond goes from in control of this segment to boxed in by 3 teammates. Speaking of being boxed in, these cars are packed tighter than sardines heading into turn number 1. Lord Raymond gets caught up on the track, stalls to save himself while Puff throws a block on his own teammates to maintain the lead. Him and Misty G bump draft across the finish line. It's just 2 laps to go. Much like the last segment, there's been a ton of position changes. Who knows how this is going to end? This time it's Misty G on the outside that takes a slight lead heading into the turns. But Puff is fighting back. They're less than a bumper length apart heading into the backstretch. But Puff inexplicably grinds to a halt inches before the finish line. The outside lane takes it. That puts Lord Raymond on the front row again. That's the last thing Puff wanted to see. Now the gates are down for the final lap of segment racing, and look at that push that Lord Raymond got from Baby Richie. Baby Richie, who's been quiet all segment, bump drafts Lord Raymond to the lead, then flies past both of his teammates for second place. Now he is glued to Lord Raymond's bumper as they head into the turns. Puff and Misty G blindsided by this. And it just happened so fast. Puff and Misty G, they've been dominant the second half of this segment. Not enough time to catch up as Lord Raymond wins segment number 3. Baby Richie gets into the main event as well. And here are the card draws for the main event. Lord Raymond draws the pole position. Starting next to him on the front row is Burt Buzzard, and Clyde, our points leader, will be starting this race in third. And now let's take a look at our second place finishers' card draws. Lucky Jackson draws 4th, Baby Richie in 5th place, the last car on the inside. And Lucky Jackson must be hoarding all the luck from the Po' Boy team because his boss draws last place. And now let's get this main event kicked off. It is time for the final 6 drivers, 6 of the brightest stars in the Nitro Series, ready to fight for that M257 Chevy. And look at that start by Burt Buzzard. He gets a car length lead over the rest of the field. Lord Raymond tries to tuck underneath him, heading out of turn number 2, and it's a drag race to the finish line. Burt Buzzard leads the first lap. Clean racing so far in this modified race. Only 2 DNFs in the segments, and one of them was a last lap Hail Mary. And we got more tight, clean racing in the turns for this lap. Lord Raymond throws a block, gets turned over, flips over 3 times before he finally lands on his wheels, blocks the rest of the field, and holds on to the lead. I was just talking about the clean racing. That kind of aggressive blocking is mighty dangerous. Worked out for Lord Raymond this time, because he's going to lead the field to the green, but look at Burt Buzzard next to him. Has the heaviest car in the series pushing him, but it's another super tight pack heading into the fat track portion. Only 3 car lanes separate first and last. Lord Raymond using that inside lane momentum. Takes a car length lead heading out of turn 2, but turns around to block again. And he is still playing with fire with this aggressive blocking. That time it was not really necessary. Now the gates are down for lap number 4, the middle lap of this segment, and it's another tight one. Super close quarters like it's Talladega. And we got our first on-track incident of the segment. Looks like Clyde pushes Po' Boy off the track. And then Baby Richie pushes Clyde off the track right after. I don't know what kind of alliance Po' Boy and Baby Richie might have been in, but I know Burt Buzzard wants a piece of him after Sonoma, and he's been showing up just by driving faster so far. But now he's got Baby Richie right on his tail. Who knows what Burt Buzzard's going to do? As the laps wind down here at Charlotte, the gates are down. Lord Raymond still holds the lead, and it looks like Burt Buzzard's just going to keep showing off by driving faster. Burt Buzzard challenging that formidable inside lane without any drafting help. But it may not be enough. Lord Raymond gets a great push from Lucky Jackson. Takes a car length lead heading out of the turns. Gets sideways and starts blocking again. Lord Raymond's on his roof. Cautions out for an El Reco. The first one of the main event, and that aggressive blocking backfires at the worst possible time. After the halfway point, with just 2 laps to go after this, Lucky Jackson takes the lead. Burt Buzzard got shoved off the track in all that commotion. Still stayed on his wheels, but he's going to start this lap in last place behind Baby Richie. What's going to happen here with just 2 laps to go? The gates are down, and much like in his segment, Baby Richie proves to be a valuable drafting partner as they fly away from everybody heading into the turn. Burt Buzzard and company picks up some speed there. The cars form a train heading out of turn number 2, and Burt Buzzard spins Baby Richie, turns him sideways, but then drives off the shoulder of the track. His plan to take out Baby Richie backfires spectacularly. The second El Reco of the main event. Now it's time for the final lap. On the front row, we have Lucky Jackson and Baby Richie. Behind them, the points leader Clyde and Po' Boy. 2 guys that raced their way in the past 2 weeks are in it. One of them at least is going to get points, and it's a tight pack heading into the fat track. All 4 of these guys won it in the worst way. All 4 of these cars are super fast, and they're still packed like sardines. And now it's the final stretch. Does anybody have anything for Lucky Jackson? Baby Richie gets side drafted off the track. 1 sub-4 RA alumni getting revenge for the other. Clyde and Po' Boy's last-second kamikaze charge to try and get something ended in disaster. They still get credited for podium finishes for barely outlasting Baby Richie. Congratulations to Po' Boy at Po' Boy Racing, taking 2 spots on the podium, sweeping the All-Star break. Now also the proud owner of 2 brand new 57 Chevys by M2. What an impressive showing for that Po' Boy Racing team. Skeeter Davis in the stocks race, and now Lucky Jackson in the mods. The crafty veterans from the Wild West days of the Sub-4 RA channel getting it done. Now let's take a look at the updated point standings. Lucky Jackson moves all the way up to 4th with that finish. He was in 9th. He moved up 5 spots. It's a really close race in the back half of the top 10. And if I had power rankings like the NFL and the NBA and the MLB does, Lucky Jackson would be skyrocketing towards the top right now. A podium followed by the All-Star break win. The rich get richer for Clyde. 25 bonus points for your points leader. Now almost 100 ahead of second place Burt Buzzard. And the 10 bonus points Po' Boy got for finishing 3rd puts him just 21 points outside of the top 10. Congratulations to all these guys. You put on a great show today. Heather and J-Bo and Baby Richie, who's at the very top of the next slide. Everyone doing a great job. Clean racing for the most part, except for the end there, when it got crazy the last 2 laps. And there's their Baby Richie, a point out of 20th right now, rocketing up the point standings ever since he got that new car. The All-Star race didn't really affect the standings this far back. Although Lord Shank did do really good in the Open, almost made it into the All-Star race. He's got the momentum now to try and turn his season around. The rest of these are your stocks. Your highest finishing stock are the McDonald's Twins cars and Skeeter Davis, of course, just like they are in the stock series. Rowdy Busch pretty much has last place on lock unless somebody ties him later on this season. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the All-Star races, the premise of it, the concept. If you have any suggestions for next year, just leave it in the comments section. If you haven't hit that like button already, make sure you hit it before you go. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe. We'll see you out there on the track.